school committee meeting of Thursday, October 19th, 2023. This will be a hybrid meeting. Attendance by board and committee members may be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. If we do have any public comment today, we ask that any members of the public who wish to speak will provide their name and address before speaking. And if we do have any who wish to speak, we'll go over more of the details of public speaking, of public comment at that point in the meeting. Okay. So first item on the agenda is the schedule of payments. So since we last met, we have, the school committee has approved warrants 015S, 017S, 022S, 024S, and 025S. So thank you all for the quick responses and approvals on those. All right. Next item is our student representative update. Marvel?
Hi, okay, so many have been noticing a lot of increased inclusivity and awareness both within the middle school and the high school. A lot of it has been facilitated by, of course, administration, teachers, and staff, but also by students and like clubs and organizations, which has also been great. A lot of the advertising that happens, or that you usually see happening within the high school, like during lunch, through clubs, or after school, has also started making its way down to the middle school, and they have been doing a lot more of that. In regards to the high school, the people that were, the students who had volunteered to help with the new student orientation and the freshman orientation had their first monthly meeting with these groups of students. And although some were a little worried about the participation levels, a lot of great reviews were left, and that was all greatly catalyzed by administration. And then regarding the middle school, once again, they have a lot of programs and such that are going to be with the high school that we're planning on going down to the elementary schools and aiding and facilitating that, morale and energy. And yeah, a lot of people are excited for the October 26th 8th grade open house. A lot of clubs and organizations are again excited to show off a little to the 8th graders. And Peer Leaders is also doing the DJ Henry Day plans. They've started that, and we are going to be celebrating that next Wednesday.
Marvel, have the other student representatives been meeting with the other 3 schools yet, or is that coming?
That's coming. So they have, I'm pretty sure they all have plans with the principals coming up pretty soon. But yeah, so we'll get a wider view on all the schools pretty soon.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Marvel?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So next up on the agenda is a vote to approve an overnight trip. Dr. Cabral?
Thank you. Our friends at Easton Wings of Hope are once again looking to sponsor 2 staff members and 8 students to attend the CADCA, Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America National Leadership Forum in Washington, D.C. You've heard Kelly Reed representing the YMCA and Easton Wings of Hope present on this before, as well as the students who attended and the staff members that attend with them. This is a very popular program, and we're looking for your support once again. Joining us this evening is Lisa St. Mary. She is the extraordinary school adjustment counselor at Oliver Ames High School, and she is one of the very involved staff members who also serves on the board of Easton Wings of Hope. So she can tell you a little bit more about it and answer any questions you may have. Ms. St. Mary?
Hi, thank you for having us tonight. This will be our 3rd year proposing to take students to this trip, so I think you've heard about it before, so I'll give a brief overview, and if anyone has any questions, please ask. CADCA is a national organization that hosts a youth leadership forum in Washington, D.C., and it's all about substance use prevention, and it's an opportunity for youth and adults to attend and come together with people across the nation to both learn from experts about updated data and information and facts, and also talk about how to do this prevention work back in our communities. And then the third aspect is having an opportunity to actually speak with legislators from our local area with other groups in Massachusetts and kind of advocate for what we are hoping for in the future, talk about what we're seeing. And the most exciting part to me is that the students do so much of that. They do all of the advocating and talking to legislators, and they get tons of training and experience, and it's really been the backbone of how we've been able to develop the Youth Coalition part of Easton Wings of Hope. which Marvel has been a big part of too.
Thank you. So, do any committee members have any questions or comments?
Yeah, this is the group that we heard from in the spring, I guess. There were like 8 middle school girls that went.
And yeah.
Yeah, last year we had 8 students all together, some from the middle school and some from the high school.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, they were very impressive, so yes, thank you.
Great. I don't have any questions. It looks really straightforward. Thank you for doing this and for giving our students the opportunity to go on this trip and have this experience. We really appreciate that.
Marvel, did you want to add anything?
Sure, it was a great experience. Like, of course, educationally, it was very enlightening. They had amazing sessions where you could like go in. You could honestly go into any session and they talk about things from like public speaking to like how to solve like the issues of substance use to like people and how to attract people to the cause, because obviously people who use substances are not going to want to hear about how to prevent substance use. So it was actually really fun in that sense, but it was also a great experience because it was just like socially you get to meet people from like other places, and it was really great. I loved it.
And learn about how they're
For sure.
developing the programs in their schools.
Some of the things that we're doing in the coalition now are actually what were talked about from like I think it was Georgia. There were sweet people from Georgia that told us a lot about what they were doing and how it was successful. So it's great. Yeah.
Thanks. Alrighty then. So would somebody like to make a motion to approve the overnight trip to the CADCA conference?
I'll make a motion to approve the overnight trip to DC. Just looking for the dates. January 29th through February 1st, 2024.
And can I get a second?
Second, DeLuca.
Roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Duranska?
What? Wiseman, yes.
Sorry, yes. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you, Ms. St. Mary.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
We look forward to hearing about the trip. All right, so next up on the agenda is a discussion and possible vote to approve an Easton Youth Lacrosse storage request. Dr. Cabral.
We are very happy to have youth groups and adult groups use the facilities as much as possible. One of these groups is Easton Youth Lacrosse, and Jeff Dale, who manages the equipment on behalf of the Easton Youth Lacrosse, they currently utilize one of the storage containers that are on site, and they're in varied states of disrepair. And so the equipment can get wet, or it isn't as secure as we would like it to be. So we went through a process. They actually they would like a new container on site. And so with David Twombly, I went through the process of vetting all possibilities. First, we started with potentially them donating it to the district and having it on site so that they could utilize it. Then we thought about them purchasing it themselves, having it on site. Those all had legal implications and insurance implications, as I'm sure you can imagine, between what if it needs to be moved or removed, who's going to put it there, if it needs to be repaired for any reason, maintained. Sometimes we paint them year after year. Who's responsible for the contents, who will have the keys to the storage unit, and so forth. So what we finally settled on with the help of town council was to have the youth group purchase the storage container. They're going to remove the existing container, and we are going to actually prepare a license agreement for them to use the storage container on the premises. So we tried to vet a few different options, and that's the one that we felt would be in the best interest of the youth organization, but also considering any liability or responsibility or being on the premises. So we are working to prepare those documents, and we'll put them before you. The storage container and the cost for movement is approximately $3,400.
All right, and so we're not voting today. Will the voting item be the proposed contract?
It will. You
Okay.
can, at first, we're looking for a vote to approve this to move forward and have their purchased container be on school property. So if you vote for that this evening, we'll move forward, we'll put together a license agreement, and then you have the opportunity to vote or not vote for the license agreement once you see the conditions.
Go ahead, Michelle.
So they're paying for the new container and the removal.
Correct.
I'm confused on this license agreement. Tell me more about that. What is that?
That is to allow them to have access to it, for them to be responsible for it, for its maintenance. We would have a condition in there that, for example, would say a reasonable amount of time for it to be removed, if the school department wanted it removed, that they would have to agree to those kinds of specific conditions about it being on school property.
So it would be here year-round?
Correct.
And
Which it is now, but it's just in really bad shape.
the contents of it would be their responsibility?
Correct.
A tree falls on it, it leaks, whatever.
Correct.
Thank you.
Sure.
Jackie or Nancy, do you have any questions? No? Okay. All right, so I make a motion to approve clarify again, so we're voting today to move forward.
To move forward with creating a licensing agreement with Easton Youth Lacrosse for a storage container on school property.
So.
Second.
All right, so I make a motion to approve moving forward with the creation of a licensing agreement regarding a storage container on school property with the Easton Youth Lacrosse League. Can I get a second?
Durant, second.
And roll call vote?
Luca, yes.
Durant, yes?
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes. Okay, all right, great. So next item on the agenda is our quarterly budget update. Dr. Cabral?
Finance Director Andrea Starshevsky has joined us at the table, and she's going to present the initial quarterly budget update for the year. This is an overview of where we stand this year. If there are more specific documentation questions or any other documents that are required, of course, we can get anything that you need. This is meant to be an overview to give a high-level review in comparison to where we were at this time in the last fiscal year. So we're happy to answer any questions you might have and prepare any further documentation if you would like it.
Thank you. Good evening, school committee and public. I will start off with the second slide, Chrissy. So I preface the remainder of the presentation with an understanding that this is my first report to the school committee on budget status. As Dr. Cabral indicated, if there's anything additional you would like to see going forward, please let ourselves and the school committee chair know. I have key terms included on this slide that will come up throughout the various budget presentations in this fiscal year. And if you're interested in one or multiple budget workshops, we are happy to coordinate along with the school committee chair. Next slide, please. So I'm not going to highlight all of these definitions, but they will come up in future budget presentations and several of the key terms I'll be discussing tonight. So I'll start off with appropriation. That definition is defining budget funds, which are set aside by the school committee for specific use within the fiscal year cycle. And the next to fiscal year, that is the time frame in which we conduct business, evaluate budget and actual expenses. For Easton Public Schools, our fiscal year is July 1st to June 30th of each year. The number of the fiscal year is also represented by the calendar year in which the fiscal year ends. So for example, our current fiscal year spans from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th of 2024. The current fiscal year we are in is fiscal year 2024. And tonight, the presentation I'm walking through for budget refers to our operating budget versus capital or revolving. Operating refers to the budget for annual appropriation of funds for ongoing program costs, including expenses such as salaries and wages, materials and supplies, purchases of services, etc. Then referring back to capital, for future presentations and discussions, that refers to budget terms for items greater than $25,000 or assets that have a useful life of 5 years or more. And for revolving, those are funds which we separately account for specific revenues, and we earmark them for offsetting expenditures. Those typically don't have appropriation for a particular purpose, but they support activities, programs, or services that relate to the revenues that are generated. And for how we conduct business here for Easton Public Schools, our revolving funds are typically where our grant funds are housed or accounted for. Next slide, please. So 2024 adopted highlights. Just a reminder of where we arrived at for our fiscal year 2024 adopted budget. We had an adopted budget which was a 3% increase, or slightly over $1.3 million, which was awarded over our prior fiscal year budget. So an additional $1.3 million was included. That brought us to an overall adopted budget of $47,028,543. We've also in this slide included a snapshot from our April budget presentation, which includes the snapshot is what we're considering our budget target. So for this current fiscal year, we are in the reactive or essential category. And then the definition of that means that we are currently providing staff and resources only as a reaction to a current need or mandate. We may not fully satisfy that need or mandate. And to highlight just a few of the items that were incorporated in fiscal year 24 budget, we have some examples listed here for some of our positions, such as our DEIA, which I want to correct on that slide, for our coordinator that we hired on, and a school adjustment counselor, just to name a few items that were incorporated in that 3% increase for fiscal year 24 budget. Next slide, please. And then this slide is a visual representation. It's comparing Q1, which is through September 30th of 2023 activity in fiscal year 24 on the left-hand side versus our district activity as of Q1 of 2023, which is through 9/30 of 2022. So all in all, we have $41,956,873 remaining in our overall budget. The yellow piece on the visual representation represents what we've spent so far this fiscal year through September 30th of 2023. We're at about, well, exactly 10.8% of our total budget has been spent down. And just as the visual representation shows, we're very closely aligned with where we were at the same time last year. So through 9/30 of 2022, we spent 11.8%. So we're 1 percentage difference overall, comparing the two fiscal periods to each other. I wanted to highlight on the next slide some categories that we use here at the district, very high-level categories. We have salaries and wages, purchases of services, materials and supplies, and that red smallest piece of that pie up there is for other charges and expenses. So salaries and wages include the namesake. For purchases of services, this category includes special services tuition, transportation, other various contract services, and utilities. One of the largest changes that happened changes that we're depicting tonight when comparing year over year includes the purchases of services category. This is mainly due to our team no longer prepaying transportation expenses. Last year in September, as an example, we paid our transportation expenses for September, October, and November, all in the month of September. Currently, we are paying for these services as they are rendered. Another example for the purchases of services category that is driving some of the fluctuations that we're seeing. This same prepayment methodology holds true for special services. In the past, we were paying for tuition in advance. For students who are at a lower risk of changing placements, we are no longer doing that this fiscal year, and that is showing in the visual representation tonight. And I'm just going back to make sure I've covered all the different categories on the slide before you. We also have an increase in salaries and wages. There is an overall change of about 4.6% compared to last year. Once again, the changes are comprised of a cyclical nature. At the beginning of the year, we are incorporating lane changes for many of our staff. we've included, and we also have included newer positions within our total employee mix, and you're seeing that as the increase that's depicted before you.
So as we have transitioned to Andrea taking over the finance department, we have put in a lot of efficiencies into the planning and procurement of our elements of our budget. And so when Ms. Starjewski talks about the purchase of services, you can see a decrease of about 13% because we are no longer prepaying, just to highlight what she already described, prepaying services that have not been rendered or prepaying tuitions. What we don't want to do is set ourselves up for a fiscal cliff where we're prepaying year after year, which had been happening for some time. And so we want to keep things to the fiscal year in which that service takes place or those goods are purchased. The same is true for materials and supplies. What has been happening is that materials and supplies were, in some cases, they were purchased in June, for example, for the beginning of school in September. Now we are allocating purchases, if it's being used in FY24, we're moving it to a July 1st purchase, which is FY24, which is why you can see the difference, again, of about 50% in materials and supplies. So this is a more efficient way of us being able to capture longitudinal data to make future projections based on accurate placement of goods and services. This also accounts for, in the prior slide, there was about a $400,000 difference between what was spent at approximately this time last year and this year. Spending $400,000 less this year at this time, that's because we did not do the prepayment.
Thank you. So this slide is another visual representation of our Q1 2024 versus Q 2023. But this is actually broken down within our accounting software by what we call a location. So for example, we have all 4 schools depicted, but we also have 2 other categories. One is called system-wide, and that consists of salaries, utilities, special services, building repairs, and improvement. I believe that is the red shade on the screen. And then we also have central administration. That consists of expenses for salaries for central administration, travel, printer maintenance, etc. And that is that dark grayish, brownish color on the screen. One of the largest by location changes we're seeing compared to last year is also included in the system-wide category. This is very similar to the previous slides related to that category that Dr. Cabral highlighted for purchases of services and the overall change to last year. Once again, this is tied to a decrease in prepayments of student tuition and the fact that we also are not incorporating prepayments for transportation again this fiscal year. Next slide, please. So this is one of the last visual representation slides we have as far as expense distribution goes. And this is our student enrollment distribution by each of our schools. We've included a year-over-year comparison to monitor how our enrollment figures may change over time. This chart is very close in parity to the previous slides for how our expenses are distributed across the district. And just a reminder, we compile our budget requests and funding based on the needs of each school. Our budget is not compiled on a one-size-fits-all per pupil cost basis. Next slide, thank you. So this is our summary slide. I do want to include this visual representation throughout our budget presentations. This is a progress style metric, which represents where we are as far as what has been expensed through 9/30/2023. We are at almost 11% spend down of our total budget, which is tracking very similarly to where we were in the prior fiscal year. And please keep in mind for future budget presentations that we are spending in a cyclical nature. There will be ebbs and flows where one quarter may typically be lighter in spending than others. For instance, please don't expect us to be at 22% of a spend down rate when we come back to report out at our Q2 or 12/31/2023 spending. And I do want to take this time as we summarize for any Horizon items or items that we want to keep the school committee apprised of. We are working very closely with our special services director to continue monitoring our out-of-district student costs. As you know, Director Davidson is working on his district-wide entry plan, and we do anticipate additional efficiencies to be realized. We will report back to the school committee on the impact of the increased out-of-district enrollment numbers later this fiscal year. We just wanted to give you a heads up that we're closely monitoring that, and we will have additional data points to provide to you at a future meeting. And that is all I have for tonight. I don't know if you have any questions for me. I'm happy to pull the slides back up and walk through anything in particular as well, if you have anything.
I would just, excuse me, add a couple of very simple examples. When Ms. Darshevsky talks about the fact that there are ebbs and flows in the budget, in terms of, for terms that people could potentially understand what that means on their end of things. At the end of the fall athletic season, for example, is when all of the fall coaches get paid. And then the same thing happens at the end of the winter season. So there are chunks of payments that happen then. At the end of the school year, we have things like longevity payments for collective bargaining contracts or lump sum payments. So there are different drivers for each of the quarters that we'll be reviewing, and we'll be sure to explain what those are and why it may show either an increase or a decrease, and we'll continue to show how it compares to our trajectory from last year.
All right. So, questions?
Thank you very much for doing that. That was very good.
All right. Comments, questions? No?
Covered it all.
All right.
No, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for all. I know there was a lot of work to pull together, so I appreciate your collaboration on this and the presentation. And I recall when I saw this, I was like, and this is why we hired her.
I like the visualness of it.
Yes. So great job presenting it in a way that's easily digestible and easy to understand.
Thank you. And once again, any updates, please feel free. I want to incorporate what it is that is helpful from a public information perspective or from an understanding perspective.
Marvel, did you have any questions or observations?
I think it was great.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So, next up is the Bi-County Collaborative update. Dr. Cabral?
So the Easton Public Schools is one of several members, dozens of members of the Bi-County Collaborative, which is a collaborative of school districts that work together to provide services to students with special education needs. We have several students that are in Bi-County programs, and I also serve on the board of directors as well as the facilities subcommittee. So I wanted to provide you very quick updates as we go through the school year. We actually timed the rest of them not to be on the same meeting as the quarterly budget updates, but it is at the beginning of the year, so I have a very small amount of information for you at this point. Just to keep you updated on similar things that we report out for the school district. For example, there is a facilities subcommittee right now. There may be some capital expenses coming because they're two areas. They have a facility that they are renting or leasing right now that has become unstable in terms of different owners of the property, and also their central administration office, which is in Franklin, also changed ownership and is in a serious state of disrepair. And so they're looking perhaps for a property that they can lease, that they can combine one of their programs in central administration. So I'm working to help them in that area. Also, we have started having regular director of special service meetings district-wide, which is a great job-alike group for the directors. Director Davidson has attended that and said it was just a phenomenal opportunity to network and meet with his peers. I, of course, meet with the board on a regular basis and have found it to be very helpful as well. The benefits of being in the collaborative, of course, as I've discussed in the past, is the fact that we have a reduced tuition for our students that do attend BICO programs. but also we have the spots most readily available to member districts before they go to out-of-district members. We also benefit from a lot of professional development that BICO offers to our regular ed teachers and our special educators. And then finally, just a quick snapshot of their enrollment. Their summer enrollment last year, this past summer was 143 students. The summer before was 139, so very similar. And this year, their student enrollment in FY23 at this point in time was 188 students, and this year it's 174 students. However, they have both 10-month and 12-month programs depending on the needs of the individual students. And even though the number of students overall has decreased, their number of 12-month students has increased, so their revenue actually has, the tuition revenue at this point comparatively has increased almost about $44,000. So financially, we're looking at stability at this time. And unless there are any questions, that's really just a snapshot of what we've been working on. And also, of course, we completed our evaluation of the director as well, Jean Sullivan, who's doing a phenomenal job.
Any questions for Dr. Cabral?
Okay, well, thank you for representing Eastern Public Schools on that committee and for all the work you do there. It benefits the district as a whole and, you know,
It's a great group.
adds a lot to your plate though, so we appreciate that. Thank you. All right, I am going to make a motion to table item number 8, which was the discussion and possible vote on superintendent goals, and move that to a future meeting. Can I get a second on that?
Second, DeLuca.
And roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Durant, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes. Next item is a vote to appoint a school committee representative to the Easton Public Schools Tricentennial Committee. Dr. Cabral.
Okay. So yes, thank you for clarifying that. It's the Easton Public Schools Tricentennial Committee. The town has an excellent and very robust group of their own in preparation for 2025, which is the tricentennial of the town of Easton. It's very exciting, and the committee has tremendous ideas, lots of energy. We're really looking forward to being a part of it. We are fortunate in that they've asked us to participate in many different ways. And so in order to help coordinate so that they're not having to reach out to multiple different people and just get it coordinated for them so that we can make sure that as many of our schools as possible, as many of our stakeholder groups as possible can participate. We have our own little subcommittee in the Easton Public Schools. And Mrs. Pruitt is going to chair those meetings and communicate back and forth with the Tricentennial Committee chairs we've already met with them. I've met with them several times. Again, their energy is unparalleled, and this is just going to be an extraordinary event for everyone. Whether people are Easton residents or not, it's going to be a great time to come into Easton and see all of the things that the town really has to offer and why we all feel that Easton is so special. So we're having, Chrissy is going to be reaching out to people to volunteer to be on our committee that are going to communicate with each of the 4 schools so that we can make sure that we have all our bases covered and hopefully can meet all the needs that the town's Tricentennial Committee has, so that we can help augment this wonderful celebration that's going to be here before we know it.
Thank you. So would any school committee member be interested in participating and representing the committee? That's what we're all staring, all staring at one person.
If nobody else wants to do it, I'll do it.
It'll be fun.
You will have a blast, Nancy, you know
It'll
that.
be fun. It'll be fun.
This is so in your wheelhouse, you know it.
I just keep thinking of all the other committees that I'm already in a wheelhouse of. All right. Okay.
Okay, so
Thank
let's see, this is voting, so I nominate Nancy to be the school committee, Nancy DeLuca to be the school committee representative to the Easton Public Schools Tricentennial Committee. Can I get a second?
Wiseman, second.
She never seconds, no. Mulligan.
Enthusiastically.
Yes.
Durant, yes?
Go Jackie, roll call vote.
Wiseman, yes.
Sorry, yes.
Okay, Chrissy, let me know what's going on.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
So next item on the agenda is public comment.
I think my husband's gonna call in and say, what?
He can help. We
Oh,
are happy to
yeah,
have him on the
that'd be-
committee.
Many hands
make light work.
Many hands make light work.
I'll nominate him.
Okay, so no public comment tonight. The next item on the agenda is superintendent notes. Dr. Cabral.
Just a couple of quick things. We do have a lot of news stories that are coming out about some spectacular student achievements and things that are happening in and around the district. I am having a little bit of difficulty connecting it to our new website, so they are coming, but we've been creating a lot of them, and I have actually been upping my tweeting game, or whatever it's called now. Marvel,
I've noticed.
help me.
X.
And my Xing, whatever it's called now. But the new website keeps rejecting the link to social media, so we're working on it, and I apologize that it still says nothing here to see yet, because there's a lot to see, and there are a lot of things going on. So please check out the links directly on, formerly known as Twitter, X, whatever. I do know what I'm talking about, regardless of how it sounds right now. Anyway, and because there are so many good things happening in the district right now, and we really want to make sure that everybody's aware of it. We also are now with our reconfigured leadership team in central office. I have been creating quarterly newsletters from the superintendent's office. It's now going to be a central administration newsletter coming out monthly. So I hope people will read it. We're going to keep it very short and direct with a bunch of links so that you don't have to read everything, but if you're interested, you can link for more information. So all members of the central admin team, the executive team, are contributing to that effort, so we hope that will be coming out soon, and it will be linked on our website. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback about our website, but if anyone's having difficulty finding anything, we now have control over the content and the edits, so please let us know. You can contact Lynn Souza directly through email or telephone if there's anything you may be having difficulty finding, and we can create more opportunities to find it. We know one of the things, for example, is the school calendar. People have difficulty finding that, so you can find it about 15 different places on the website right now. And that's fine. We're fine with replicating that. We just want to know what's the intuitive way that people look for it. And different people look for it in different ways. Some people will look under students. Some people will see it's right on the top. Mrs. Pruitt doesn't, but everybody else probably does.
I was searching for it and then it's right there. Oh my goodness.
So the more ways we can have it, the better. And so please give us feedback if anyone has anything. And the best way to do that is as we go through the school year, if a student or a staff member or a family is looking for something and they don't see it, that's a perfect opportunity to let us know that it wasn't easy to find, and then we can hopefully fix that. Because that's the purpose of the entire endeavor, is to make sure that information is literally 3 or less clicks away. And we are also having, Carol's, Perez and I, the director of DEIA, are coordinating our community meetings, DEIA community meetings this year. So please watch for that if you are interested in attending. We had a couple of great meetings at the end of last school year, and we're looking to create that again. Ms. Perez is working on her entry plan as she's transitioning into the district, and so I've encouraged her to have a lot of interviews and document reviews, and so I've tried to let her get some of that work done so she can get her bearings, and then we're going to plan this together, and so we're really looking forward to advertising that, and we'll put the date in our first newsletter that's going to be going out. I think that's it for now.
Any questions or comments for Dr. Cabral? So next up is Assistant Superintendent notes. Mrs. Pruitt.
Thank you so much. So I just wanted to update you. Last time we met, it was the day before our Professional Development Day. So the Professional Development Day happened. with great success. Our secondary teachers were immersed in culturally responsive teaching, while our elementary teachers and some middle school staff were more curriculum specific around the implementation of wit and wisdom and foundations. We had some great feedback. We met as a professional development committee to review that feedback and are looking at already, we have plans in place already for our January professional development. Once those get solidified, I will definitely keep you up to date with what those plans will be. I also just wanted to let you know, last year in the spring, I had mentioned that I would be doing with the assistant principals a bullying presentation for families in October. We have postponed that because there are some great trainings coming up that the assistant principals will be attending. So we're looking to gather more information and make sure that those go into the training for families. And that also coincides with, as Dr. Cabral mentioned her already, Carol Perez, our Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility, will be included in those presentations as well, as she will be the main contact right now for bullying in the district, for the district level bullying coordinator. So she and I are working cooperatively together, of course, and we will be working with the assistant principals on the presentation, and we're just kind of looking at all of that so that we have that information for families with all updated information that is out there. And then lastly, as Marvel pointed out, I just wanted to highlight next Wednesday is DJ Henry Day, and the high school has a great plan in place for all grade levels to kind of have different experiences throughout their high school career with the content and with who DJ Henry was, and it will be a great day for the students. I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay.
And that's all I have today.
Any questions or comments? No? All right, great, thank you.
So next up, we have school committee notes. Nancy.
Just one thing, Monday, special town meeting. There'll be a presentation of the public safety project that needs approval at town meeting, but it also needs approval on November 4th at the voting at the high school from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's the only item on the special town meeting agenda for this October 23rd, and it's a very important one too for, I think, everybody in town. So there's a lot of information out there. There's a website you can go to that you can just go to the Town of Easton website and you can get into it from there. But it's basically making a new police station, fire station, and DPW down on Depot Street as you head towards Shaw's from the monument. And then another little fire station across from Hilliard's. So a lot of things going on with that, but it's very important. Monday night, 7 o'clock, OA Auditorium.
If I can just add to that, there is only one other item on there, and it's about a tax relief program for seniors to hopefully mitigate any impact of the project and other items, and so it's an important tandem to the town meeting ballot, the town meeting warrant, excuse me.
Great, thank you. Nancy, anything else?
No, thank you.
All right. Michelle.
All right, music update. A couple weeks ago, the marching band went to Melrose to compete, but it rained, so the competition moved inside. And when it moves inside, none of the bands can do their full shows, so they don't get scored, but they get that experience and that practice and that exposure. So that's wonderful. And then last weekend, I believe it was, they were at Shepherd Hill, which was a MICA event. And MICA is, the NESBA events get scores up through, I want to say through 100, but that might not be quite right. It might be through 90. But the MICAs go by stars, and they got 4 stars, which was fabulous. This weekend on Saturday is Tigerama. The marching band is hosting a competition in the NESBA realm of their competitions, and that is from 5 to 9-ish. And our band will go on roughly just after 7, so if you want to come see them, be here by 7. And there's 8 schools that'll be here competing, and this is their second year doing that. And Base State is coming up on November 10th and 11th, and that is a 2-day workshop type experience. I don't know how many schools are coming this year, I haven't been able to find out, but it brings various schools show choir and their pit bands, and they spend all day Friday practicing together, Saturday practicing together, and then they culminate with a show. And they literally have been playing for a day and a half, 2 days. It's great. So that's what's coming up in music.
All right, great, thank you. Jackie, do you have any updates this week?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, time for the sports report. It's a good one. All right, so first of all, the football is having its senior night, which was postponed, right, from a rainy night a couple of weeks ago. So senior night is going on tonight, so we hope that that the seniors are having had a nice ceremony before the game, or I think the game actually starts at 7. So let's see, golf. The golf team won the Hockomock Championship yesterday. They finished the season as the Davenport Division winner within Hockomock, and then won the whole league yesterday. So congratulations to them. That's a huge accomplishment. Boys and girls cross country finished their seasons undefeated. Their regular seasons undefeated. They have each won the Davenport Division for the 4th year in a row, and are competing at the Hockomock Championships on October 28th. Field hockey has 3 games left in their season, and they are currently number 3 in the Davenport Division, and they are in the MIAA Power Rankings, which is a good, which the Power Rankings are an indication of who will be in the postseason, and they are solidly in there, so not on the cusp of anything. So I'm not cursing anybody, but things are looking good. Volleyball has 3 games left. They are number 2 in the Hawk Davenport Division, and also similarly well situated in the MIAA Power Rankings. Girls soccer has 2 games left after today. They are currently tied for number 1 in the Davenport Division, and are also well situated in the MIAA rankings. Boys soccer has 3 games left. They have clinched the Davenport Division for Hockomock, and are well seated in the power rankings for MIAA. So looks like we have potentially a very busy postseason ahead for our OA athletics. So congratulations for success so far this season, and good luck for all the upcoming games and meets. And then just looking at the school calendar today, it's so cool to see so much going on in the district. So the middle school has a Halloween dance coming up tomorrow night. And the middle school calendar is filling up with a lot of after-school clubs and activities. So it looks like the clubs and activities have kicked off for the year at the middle school. So we thank all of the staff who are involved in helping those clubs and activities run. Blanche Ames is having, let's see, are they doing a trunk or treat this week, I think? Yep. So, and they, I know they've had a costume swap and water-wise lessons, swimming lessons at the Y have begun. Let's see, so OA had the, what used to be senior project, I see it's been renamed Applied Learning Project, so I know those presentations were made last week. The Tri-M induction into the Music Honor Society is happening next week. Also on October 25th, I believe that'll be the first meeting of the EL PAC, the English Language PAC. And I think that's it for everything that's coming up within the district. So busy time, but like all such good stuff, so all great.
The middle school's been going to Sheep Pasture this week.
Oh, fun. Do you see them?
Oh, I see them, I hear them before they get there. Like a gaggle.
Yeah, it's been a great week weather-wise.
I know.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been working out well.
Good week.
They're cute, yeah.
Nice, yeah, they definitely, I've seen lots of field trips and trips to Borderland happening, so it's great that we're able to use all of our local resources. Alrighty, So with that, let me just see where we are time-wise. So we're going to go into executive session. So Marvel, if you want to head out, we have to go anyway, so. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to make a motion to enter into executive session to return to open session for the purposes of pursuant to MGL Chapter 38, subsection 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining for SPEA, the Southeastern Public Employees Association, food service custodian, secretarial clerical units, and pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, subsection 21A7, to comply with open meeting law to review minutes of a prior executive session from September 21st, 2023. And in my opinion, having this discussion in open session would be detrimental to the bargaining position of the school committee. Can I get a second?
DeLuca, second.
Roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Durance, yes?
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes. Jackie, can you hear us? Thank you. Okay, so, let's see, so we return to open session. So, all right, help me out here, since it just says possible vote, are we tabling number 16, or do we just move past it? Do you recall, Nancy?
I think you just say we'll table this, vote on.
There is no
table.
vote, right.
There's no vote today.
Okay, all right. So I'm tabling item number 16, which was a possible vote to approve custodian, secretarial, clerical, and food service contracts, because we are not prepared to vote on those.
Durant, second.
And roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes?
Durant, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Are yes. Okay. And next on the agenda are the regular session meeting minutes from October 5th. So do any committee members have any questions, comments, or edits on the October 5th regular meeting minutes?
I got it.
Do we need any time to review, or is everybody all good? All right, so can I get a motion to approve the minutes from October 5th?
So move, DeLuca.
And Durant, second.
Roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Durant, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes. Okay. Then next up is the executive session minutes from Thursday, September 21st, 2023. So I am making a motion to approve but not release the minutes at this time with the edits discussed in the executive session.
DeLuca, second.
And roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Durant, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes. And finally, the executive session minutes from October 5th, 2023. Do any committee members want these held for review in executive session? No? Okay. Alrighty. So then I will make a motion to approve but not release at this time the executive session minutes from Thursday, October 5th.
Durant, second.
And roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Durant, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our agenda. I will make a motion to adjourn.
When's our next meeting?
Oh, thank you. Our next meeting is November 2nd, 6 PM in person, well, hybrid. Okay, all right. So, made a motion to adjourn
Second, DeLuca.
and roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Durant, yes.
Wiseman, yes.